Welcome to Jones AT&T Stadium, where Texas Tech and TCU will open Big 12 play. I'm Brian Jensen, John Harris, Chris Level, the Texas Tech Sports Network radio crew with you. This keys to the game for the Red Raiders and the Horned Frogs coming up. And I guess it must really be a step up in a game because John's in the suit and tie here. Didn't get the memo today, did you, Chris?
I did not get the memo.
All right, well, good. Glad to know that I wasn't the only one. Let's get started with our keys to the game because obviously, man, there are a ton of them, actually. I think we could go almost all the way down every phase of the game to pick one out, but what was your favorite?
I think we could cover up a 52-minute weather delay with keys to the game. And I think this is something we hear a lot about. Quarterbacks get a lot of the credit, maybe too much credit sometime, maybe too much blame, but I think on Thursday night, it has a lot to do with the quarterbacks. How will Baker Mayfield respond in a game like this as you open up Big 12 play? How will the Red Raider defense contain Trayvon Boykin of TCU? It's just one of those things where there's a huge concern that Boykin is a guy that can throw the football effectively and run the football as well. So what do you do? What do you do defensively to try to keep him contained and then at the same time not let him drop back and throw the ball over the top of you? So I think the Red Raider defense must find a way to keep him in the pocket, not give him the lanes to throw in, and certainly not give him the opportunity to come running out of there and make big plays because that'll just fuel TCU's offense. I think that's huge for the Red Raiders. Contain the TCU quarterback.
And make sure your quarterback doesn't make mistakes.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you're going to flip to the other side of the ball, or are you going to go right in the trenches where we've talked so much about this year already?
I mean, I'll talk a little bit about everything, I guess. I'm not, but to
Chris Level way.
to John's point, I mean, an early lead would certainly help you keep the ball away from Trayvon Boykin, kind of force him to be one-dimensional and all that. But to that point, I would say if we think back to that game against TCU last year, Texas Tech had a lot of big plays, and they didn't hit as many because there were some that were called by the referee. I mean, the one-on-one opportunities with Eric Ward and Darren Moore last year. Bradley Marquez didn't play in that game last year, and neither did Jace Amaro. So this is the first time that TCU has seen Bradley and Jace, and I think that those guys need to have some big plays because, one, to John's point, it will help out Baker Mayfield. Doesn't have to drive the field against these guys. You need to be able to go 3 or 4 or 5 plays and then boom, And I think I don't know how it will be called, if they'll be calling it real tight or whatever, but in TCU's defensive scheme, I mean, it's no secret. I mean, they put those guys out there. Jason Verrett is a stud, and that's why they put him out there all by himself, but he's also going to be covering a stud in Eric Ward. So I think if Eric can win a couple of those matchups, it could be fun.
And it is pretty obvious we're not hitting the trenches this week because I think it is pretty obvious. I mean, that's one we've talked about for the last couple of weeks, and the offensive line does have to remain as healthy as possible and stay on the field throughout the game as much as they can to be able to be successful in all this. My key is actually, I'm not going intangible this week because the thing that really jumped out at me as I looked through and prepared for this week was special teams. I don't really think TCU has gotten in a groove yet offensively. They in the first 2 games they went with Pahal and Boykin, and they just really didn't seem to get a groove going real well until late in that second half again last week. I think the special teams could be the key because if you are tight or if you are in a game that's going back and forth like it could, you sure don't want TCU to run rampant with their special teams, and they can. They are the only team in the nation that is in the top 10 in both kick returns and punt returns. They have the longest streak in the nation, keeping you from having a kickoff return for a touchdown. By the way, both of their kickers are on the watch lists. Right. So pretty darn good in the special team department. Don't want to give up a big play there that could cost you. And at the same time, boy, if you could break their back with one, like the Red Raiders have done before with one Jakeem Grant, who knows? Maybe then they start going, what the heck is happening here? We've seen that response in this stadium with TCU before.
And you know what else? I mean, to be honest with you, this crowd needs to play a big role in this game on Thursday night. I mean, and TCU won in Morgantown last year. They won in Austin. They won in Waco. So, their 4 Big 12 wins last year actually came on the road. But Lubbock is an interesting environment, especially for a night like this. The students the other night against SFA were tremendous. If they will bring that same intensity, it really creates an intimidating environment.
Certainly from the students, no doubt. And a Thursday night, a little bit different, so it's going to be interesting to see what kind of response we have here.
Oh, and you had almost 15,000 students in the stadium for the last ball game. Do you get more this time because there are more seats available that TCU did not take? I think they add to the atmosphere tremendously. If it was a stripe the stadium on Saturday, this time it's a blackout. I mean, I just think it's a great atmosphere. If we come close to that kind of atmosphere that we had for Texas in 2008, give a huge edge to the Red Raiders. I think that's an enormous plus.
Told you there were more than just a few keys. We could go on and on and on and on, but there is a game they're going to be playing here at Jones AT&T. Red Raiders and the TCU Horned Frogs should be a great one. Thanks for watching the Keys. Be sure you listen while you watch to the game to the Texas Tech Sports Network. We're the radio crew. This has been Texas Tech TV.